She's been here before with the husband, but they do this all the time. If you follow them on social media, then you know she's just the right person to have this conversation with us. Mrs. Njada, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
Do you have secrets in your relationship, in your marriage?
Oh, I'm so glad to be here once more.
And you look really nice.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Now, secrets.
It's one of those things, I don't know. You know, there's a meme going around on social media, especially on TikTok, where you say, please tell me, you know, I won't tell anybody. And then the husband appears, apart from me and my husband. And it's like, no, I'll be here for you. I won't tell anybody else. Then husband appears over here. So it is a secret, yes. But my husband doesn't count.
That's right. You know, like once you come into marriage, like even the word of God says, you know, and we love to quote it every now and then, even those who are not born again, that the two shall become one. Now, in oneness, there are no secrets, because if you're going to become one, if I am a person, there is no secret within me. So if we are merging together to become one, secrets come in and tend to put in a barrier between our communication, our relationship, and our intimacy. So once you get married, and if you're desiring to get married, you need to know that there is no privacy, there is no secret. And there's this term that people love to tell. Maybe they come to me and tell me, let me tell you something and don't tell your husband. Or let me tell you something and don't tell your wife. Like,
that's a lie.
It cannot work.
So unaendanga tu unasema.
Yeah, because this person is your friend. This person is your best friend. You're always there with them. 24/7. You wake up, you see them. So even in your little chats and everything, of course you're going to tell them something.
Does it matter what kind of secret it is? Sometimes we have, they're probably, I don't know, maybe they're secrets, for lack of a better word. But then there are things that happen in our personal families that sometimes you feel, in me keeping quiet, then I am protecting
your family.
My family.
Yes.
I am not hiding it from you. But you see, it won't probably, you won't, I'll be exposing who my people are, or my great grandfathers, or whoever is ukunyuma kwenye mimi nimetoka.
Yeah, no, Mwikali, you see, if it's something that's going to affect your relationship, then you need to be open about it. Because you don't want to go maybe visit your family and then something comes up and he hears or she hears while you're there and you did not mention it. You know, so it appears like you're having a conversation with your parents or your grandmother concerning something that happened and you did not mention. Like, what your spouse is going to feel is that they were left out of maybe a very important decision that someone was supposed to be involved in. Because you see, like in becoming one, that's why we are told that you're going to leave your father and mother and the two of you shall become one, because you're forming an entity that cannot be broken by anything. So I feel if it's something that's going to affect your relationship and at one point that your spouse is going to know, then you have to be open about it, because they are going to feel, for women, we feel if someone has kept a secret, especially our spouses, we feel like there's no security for us, because we find security in closure. The more someone speaks to you, the more someone tells you who they are, their inner secrets, then you feel safe. Now, for men, if you're not open with them, they feel like you are not honoring them, like it's disrespectful. So the only bit that I would say that you need not to be over open is when you're in a relationship, because you have not yet identified if you're spending the rest of your life with this person. But if you have identified that for better or for worse, for life, then you need to be open with them.
Wow. And I'm gonna throw it to you guys. Do you have any secrets? Kuna ile moja unafeel ni kama, I don't think I can say this one. Ama it's not the right time. Ama maybe he will never find out. Ama she will never know. You know, but you're struggling with keeping secrets. Ama you're struggling with him. He doesn't tell you everything. You know, that kind of miscommunication or not being told everything. If you're going through that, or if you're experiencing that, or if it brought a problem in your marriage, in your relationship, please share your stories, your questions with us, because we will have Mrs. Njada just answer those questions this morning. 111 444 111. That is our SMS line. Imagine it's just going to cost you a shilling for you to do that. So the only time you're saying that we can hold back is when we're in a relationship.
Yes.
Before we walk down the aisle.
Yes.
So after we walk down the aisle, then now no holding back.
And also, let me just say, when you know that this is the person I'm spending the rest of my life with,
yes,
there are things that you ought to be open about, because you don't want to get into marriage pretending to be someone that you're not.
Okay.
You know, because we have our past. We have things that we have done in our past. And most of the problems that are in marriage, they have not started then. They have started from our past. So we come in with baggages from our previous relationship or how we have been brought up, and everything, we bring it into marriage. So as soon as you realize, and you know, because there's a way you know in your heart that deep down, I really want to spend life.
But I understand what you mean.
Yes.
When you know that this is it,
yes,
and it's serious, and I have chosen you.
Yes, I have chosen you, and I want to spend the rest of my life. There are things that you ought to open up about. And of course, you cannot know a person fully before, because I mean, maybe you have met when you're 30 years old. There are so many things that have happened before you're 30. You cannot, within that time of dating and everything, you cannot empty yourself out all those 30 years to someone before you get married. But there are very important things that you ought to mention, especially things that are going to affect you in your marriage. You ought to mention. And then the rest of the things, as you keep going, that's why you hear that as you keep going, you continuously know your spouse over and over again.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what are some of the things that we should definitely let them know before, even as much as we are not telling everybody, like my 33 years on this earth?
Yes.
But what are the key things that we should always strive to make sure that we talk about?
Yeah. So one, let me just categorize them like in three. There is emotional, there is financial, and there is also the spiritual aspect, you know, because you ought to be equally yoked. There is no way you're going to be maybe in different religions. That is something that you're supposed to talk about, then come into agreement. Then by the time you're coming together, you are in agreement, because we see a lot of problems when someone is unequally yoked, and then probably you have children. So now maybe your husband doesn't go to church, and you as the mother, you want your children to grow in church, but these children belongs to both of you. So you need, then there arises problems, because maybe the father doesn't want the children to go to church. He wants them to go somewhere else, and you as the mother, you want something else. You see, this is something that you would have avoided at the beginning if these are some of the things that you discussed. The other bit is financial. This one is big. It's really big, especially if we have grown up in our cultures where we are told as women that we need to keep something for our the bad days, you know, that we need to keep something. So you find that you need to disclose. If you help your parents, you need to let this person know that, you know what, the money I get, I help my parents, or I help my brothers and sisters. I am educating someone. Because remember, we talked about oneness. Everything becomes one when you come here. You're putting your finances on the table. So if you have not discussed how you use your money, by the time you're coming in, they're going to arise a problem, because someone else is coming budgeting for the things that are now in your family, and then now you're telling them that there is this amount of money that I have to keep sending my parents. Or maybe I am sick, and there's a particular I go to the hospital every now and then, every month. There's this amount of money that we ought to put aside, because now you see you're coming into someone else's finances and your margin. It's not about my money and his money. It's our money. That's the correct posture of a good marriage, because the moment you start hiding some money in marriage, you start having that kakiti for your own. Yeah. What you do is that you bring in financial infidelity. And as soon as you open that door, you know, we just love to talk about one kind of infidelity.
That's what I've had today.
Yes, but there is financial infidelity, because infidelity is where you are involved with something else that your spouse doesn't know.
That's infidelity.
Yes. So when you introduce financial infidelity, you're opening a door for anything else. It's easy for me to be, maybe to find a kajama who I can be supporting from time to time, because my husband doesn't know how much I earn, how much I bring to the table, you know. It's easy for me to even just maybe we hear people who are building houses on their own,
yes,
that their husband doesn't know, or the wife doesn't know.
And they end up renting that house. The husband is paying you rent indirectly. It's crazy.
Can you put yourself in those shoes? Then you find out that there is money. You know, sometimes we love, especially in marriages, we love to do things not thinking about the other person, you know. And the truth of the matter is, anytime you're doing something, you need to put yourself in the shoes of the other person. Like, if I was the one who was there, how would I feel if I found out there's something that they're hiding from me? Of course, you're going to feel so bad. Trust is lost if there is secrecy. You're not going to trust that person anytime you find that there's some money that has been kept aside, you know.
So this is a message especially to people who are in marriages.
Yes, in marriages.
This is called financial infidelity.
Yes.
And it's opening doors to other things. So rethink the strategies in your home this morning.
Yes, you need to do that. And also for the singles, these are some of the things that you ought to think about, because, you know, like we have all been there. We have been single at some point. But I feel like sometimes we are so drawn to, you just say, I just want to get married. I just want to get married. But when you ask someone, why do you really want to get married? They just say maybe, oh, I'm alone, I need company. Or when it was the cold weather, like right now it could be cuddly. You see, those are very minor things that you ought to think about when you say that you want to get married. You need to think about how open you're going to become with someone. And if you're not ready, then first just take a back seat. First sit down and think, because for a marriage to work, there are rules. And you have to apply those rules for your marriage to work, unless you just want it to break. And secrecy is part of the topmost thing that is causing our marriages to break. Because once trust is gone, it's hard to regain it. And it's also hard to be in the same house with someone that you don't trust. It's hard to submit to a man that you don't trust, you see. So the whole order comes tumbling down, and then you start getting problems in marriage. Now, the other one was emotional that I talked about. Emotional. This one comes in about maybe your past relationships, now that you're getting married. And what have you been involved in? Because it comes in and affects your marriage. Have you been in an abusive relationship before that has messed you up? Have you maybe even involved yourself maybe in abortions or something, because it's going to affect you as a person? Like, how has your past been? Where have you grown up? Have you grown up in a home that this marriage was working, or have you grown up where your parents have been fighting over and over? Because these things affect you. It affects your emotions, and you're going to bring it to the table once you get married to this person. So someone needs to understand, if you have been raised up by a single parent, let them know before you get married, because there are going to be triggers. There's something someone may do when you're in marriage that is going to trigger your past. If you have been in an abusive relationship, maybe someone was used to raising their voice at you. And maybe now your husband has been brought up where, there are families where there are so many, so they keep shouting at each other for someone to make a point understood. And then there are other families where it's forbidden to speak loudly to each other.
Yeah.
So you need to tell this person that, you know what, in my previous relationship, whenever someone shouted at me, this is how I would feel.
Yes.
So your partner is going to know how are they going to handle you. Because if you don't speak that and assume, because I think as ladies we assume that someone can read our minds. Like he's a grown up. He's a grown up. Wacha ajue. Wacha ajue nikimwangalia hivi wacha tu ajue.
Oh my God, but that's not the truth.
That's not the
truth. We need to change that. We need to be able to speak our mind, to speak our hearts, because our spouses cannot read our minds and hearts. So make it easy for them. We're going to take a very short commercial break. Of course, we're coming back to answer all your questions. Send them. Have you experienced secrecy in your relationship, in your marriage? How did that go? Have you recovered from it? Were you able to trust them again? 111 444 111. That is our SMS line. We'll be right back after this break. Welcome back to Full Circle with Mwikali. A very good morning to you. How are you doing? We're talking about secrets in marriages, in your relationships, and how we shouldn't be having those. And we've also been told a disclaimer, like, kama uko kwa relationship tu hivi, then yeah, just be careful what you say. Until you're sure that you want to walk down the aisle, that it's forever with this person, then you can just start disclosing things pole pole as you walk the journey of life together. Now we have a question here for you, Mwende, and it says, where are you? Where are you? Oh, here we are. Hello, Mwix and the guests. My name is Eliana from Goomba. I'll say one thing. Yes, when we marry, we become one. But there's a lot that the other person can't handle. Now, I'm a new person joined to him. From now, I'll let him know everything about me, but my past is past. I don't have to disclose anything about it. It's past, so we forget it. He will use it against you one day, and that is my opinion.
So, you see, now in that question, the problem is with the other person, the maturity of the other person. Because if someone cannot handle you, the whole of you, and this is a marriage, then it means that that person has a problem and he or she needs to deal with it. Why I'm talking about disclosing your past is because some of this past are going to come and affect your marriage.
Okay.
Let me give an example. Maybe you aborted as a woman.
Yeah.
Then you come into marriage and you're now having problems of conceiving. You see, it's not only affecting you, it's also affecting your spouse. And not unless you open up to your spouse and let them know that you're choosing me for who I am. Or we have people who have been told that you will never have children. That is before they're getting into marriage. Then some of them you refuse to say. Maybe even for a man that you cannot function properly, then you refuse to tell your spouse. Then now when you're in marriage, it becomes a big problem that could even lead to divorce, because this is something that you knew all along, but you did not tell me. So I feel that you cheated me. Like, I'm in this relationship out of a lie, not because I chose to. That's why I began by saying, as soon as you know that this person wants to marry you, tell them such things. Let them choose you, even in your worst. Because there is no need of getting into a marriage in pretense. That pretense won't go in for long. It will fail. Some of us, maybe when we are single, we get into debt. Then we get into marriage. Then some years down the line, we find people coming into our house to carry things, auctioneers to carry things. It's going to affect your spouse and your children, because now you're jeopardizing their happiness and everything that you guys have built together. So you see what some of the things that secrets may cause a breakdown in your marriage, and these are things that would have been solved from the onset. So let someone choose you and say, I choose you forever, because they know who you are, but not because of who you're pretending to be, because that's not who you are.
What about the other part where people now use that, your spouse, your partner, they use that against you. So they get angry at you. Probably you made just one little tiny financial decision that wasn't that good. But then it's like, hey, unakumbukanga hata ulikuanga na madebts, nilikulipianga, na nikafanya, you're dragging the same thing in here. So there's also the fear of that happening.
Yes, that one is now the number one factor that causes us to have secrets, because maybe your spouse is the judgy type, judging you, and will never forget the things that you told them. So you see, even you as a spouse, you need to provide a good environment where your partner is able to open up to you, because without a good environment, then people close up. And especially for men, you know, us girls, we love to talk, especially when we meet, we can talk about anything and everything. Now, there are some men who feel that I cannot open up to my wife fully because I'm going to hear these stories with my girlfriends. So it's up to you as a person to provide a good space and a good environment that your partner is going to be open to talk about it. Otherwise, without a proper environment, then you can expect that there are going to be secrets in your marriage, and those secrets are going to cause a big ridge between the two of you.
That's true.
So if you're in a place where maybe your partner is always taking things up against you, the things that you told them, they are always reminding you over about it, I think it's good that you guys talk about it. And if you're not getting you're not coming into agreement, now that's when you involve another party, like a counselor, who can sit the two of you down and bring sense, because you're working towards being one. And oneness does not begin only the moment you say I do. It's continuous. You can lose the oneness in between the marriage the moment you introduce secrets, the moment you introduce other parties who are not for your marriage. So it's a continuous thing that you keep going. And if you encounter that the environment is not okay, tell the person that I feel that you judge me from my past, and this is not who I am. I have changed. You know?
Have a conversation with
Have
them.
a conversation with it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Another question here. Morning, beautiful ladies. We are very fine. Thank you.
We are great.
I am Willie Kister, watching from Utawala. I am married with 2 babies. My hubby have severally kept things from me. And when I finally get to know about them from other sources, I can tell you for free that the experience is very painful. It leaves a very big scar in my heart. How can I make him change on that? Because personally, I always explain everything to him, hata kama hajaniuliza.
I know. Now the scars, it's terrible to hear things from other people. And you've not heard from your spouse. Now that's where, as women, you find that you feel that there is no security in this relationship. So I feel if you have tried to talk to him over and over again, I would love to know, like, do you have mentors? Because it's important to have mentors in our lives, because there's someone that your husband can listen to, someone that they honor, someone that they value. So is this someone? Yet we have other people who are not open to mentors. I know that clearly. But if this is someone who is open to mentorship, and he's open also to counseling, you need to take that action. You can seek counseling. Also, find out if the problem is with you. Like, maybe are there things that you went to discuss maybe with your family, with your friends, that have affected the way your husband feels? Because if the husband feels that he is not safe with you, then, as I said, he's going to come in with closure. He's not going to disclose things. There are things that he will be telling you, but up to this point, because he fears that you're going to discuss these things with some other people. And once you enroll maybe in counseling, that's when you begin to realize, you get to know his mind. Where is he coming from? Is it from something that I said? Did I judge him wrongly after he said something? Or is it entirely his problem from how he has been raised? Because also how we have been raised can affect how we disclose to our spouses. Yes.
A lot of things to think about there. Good morning, Mwikali. I always enjoy your show every morning and learn a lot. It is true. Secrets in relationships have led to a lot of breakups, because many people get into marriage with their own expectation. ZP. Zach from Thika, thank you for affirming that this conversation is headed in the right direction. Morning, Mwikali, I'm Kate, watching from Narok. The show is lit. I'm learning a lot. Wow, now I have courage to discuss my past with my husband-to-be. Nilikuwa naogopa kusema some of my past, but now I have courage to discuss it. I will open my heart to him and let him know about my past. But sometimes it is hard to talk about it because some of our backgrounds are not well. So kuna mtu unaweza mwambia your secrets, a change mind.
Yeah.
So that's why some fear to talk about their past. So how can that person deal with the past? Because fear is actually the key.
There's something I always say. It's better a broken engagement than a broken marriage.
That's true.
It's always better, or than to get into a marriage where you're always crying and regretting, why did I bring myself into this thing? Now, in as much as we are disclosing our past and everything, there are things that we ought to consider. We ought to communicate in so much wisdom.
Okay.
And we also need to check on timing. What time am I disclosing these things? Is it when it's a heated moment of our argument that you start spilling the things that you have gone through? Or is it a time when you are both together, collected, that love emotion is all over, then you can be able to open up. But I always say this, get married to your friend. Because if I cannot disclose something to you, there is no way I'm going to walk down the aisle with you.
That is true.
Because I need a friend with me. I need a friend for a husband. I need a friend to get submitted to. I'm not just going to submit to anybody who is always seeing me according to my past, you know. So for that lady, if she is completely sure that this is the man that she wants to get married to, it's good that she begins that journey. But let her use a lot of wisdom and also the timing as to when she's disclosing these things.
Yes.
And I've heard her talk about the fear of being left. Let me tell you, as for me, I want a person who is going to accept me.
Choose me.
For Mwende.
Yes.
Choose me with all the baggages that I have,
Everything.
with all the mistakes that I've been.
Yes.
I want that person to choose me for that. Because once I get married, it doesn't mean that I'm going to be perfect. There are still things that I'm going to be doing. There are still mistakes that I'm going to get into.
Yeah.
And this person is going to see. So are they then going to leave me because of the mistakes that I've done? No, I don't want such a person. So tell this person, if he truly wants to get married to you, he's going to get married to you.
That is the truth.
If he wants to leave you, then
he will.
He will.
And if he doesn't do it now, he will do it later.
Exactly.
So he'd better do it now.
Yeah.
And I love what you just said, that they need to choose you wholesomely.
For who you are. Exactly.
And I think it's a better state to get into a marriage knowing that they know everything. Rotten thing that is about me.
It's
important. And they still chose me.
Yeah.
That they still said they loved me.
Yeah.
And you can see how genuine they are with that.
Exactly.
Kuna SMS moja before I let you go. After 12 years in marriage, my husband brought me another woman and
so
said
sad.
that they had a kid together who was 5 years older than mine. And he married her. So there's secrets, then there's...
Yeah.
This is, I don't know.
This is crazy.
On another level
and
of
you
secrecy.
See, the moment you introduce the little secrets, like this, and also foundations, because clearly this child was before they got married.
Yes.
So you see, like, it was on the wrong foundation that this marriage has been built. Then you see now it's coming to crumble down at this particular point, because it's painful. This lady probably would have said that as long as you have another child, then let me choose.
Yes.
Let me choose,
Give
you know.
me the option.
Yeah, and that's why you need to be clear. If you have a child, tell them, I have a child. Choose me with my child.
Yes.
Because I'm not going to leave my child, ushago,
No.
and then in between. That child will come in between at some point, you know. Yeah, so I really feel for that lady, because it's hard that this is the time that she's realizing 12 years is a lot of time that she has spent so much emotions.
Yeah.
But she needs to decide. So what does she want? Does she want to stay there, or does she want to walk out? If she wants to stay, she can seek for help.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Great. I see more questions, but our time is up. our time is really up. Just read one. It's not a question. I'm Tush, watching from Mombasa. Secrets of Relationship. You've reached me a lot. You've blessed me. God bless you, dear.
Amen.
And thank you so much for sharing this with us. How can people get in touch with you, Mwende?
You can get in touch with me on our platforms. I run Merge. Merge is all about identity, relationships, and money. So you can find us on Facebook, Merge. You can also find us on YouTube, Merge with Njadhas. And you can also find me on Instagram as Mwende Njadha.
Thank you so much for coming.
Yes.
No, Salimie, Mr. Njadha.
I sure will say that. Thank you for having me.
Not a problem. Karibu.
All right.
We're going to take a very short commercial break. We will be right back. Don't go too far.